Hey guys, this is Tauna, and today we're going to be talking about 10 fun slash Memey commanders that are just built different. These are decks that are all going to play very different to your normal decks. They've got quite different themes or quite different ways that you're going to be building them. And honestly, they're very fun. Like, they're very interesting and kind of different designs to what you're potentially used to. So maybe this is going to prompt you to want to build one or something. Let me know, and I'll put the link to my TCG player link down below. You can click that. It'll support the channel while you go and buy your singles from there and start building your deck. And make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, and let me know if you like these kinds of videos. So the first one here we've got is Ragad Dragga, Gore Guts Boss. So this here is built around your mana dorks and stuff. So each creature you control with a mana ability gets +2/+2, so you get bigger mana dorks, and then whenever they attack, they also untap, which means that you're able to then use them for mana afterwards. And whenever you cast a spell, if you spend at least 7 mana to be able to cast it, you untap a creature, give it +7/+7 and trample. So obviously, your mana dorks are really great here, whether it's the ones that, get a certain amount of stuff or just tap for 1 mana and everything. The new Tender Wild Guide, I really like this for this deck. And you want to be casting big things. So what better way than like these huge kind of X cost spells, whether it's Awaken the Woods here, get a whole bunch of land creature tokens out, or Finale of Devastation, which is just going to allow you to go find something. There's a huge amount of big X cost, whether it's these or like Crackle with Power or something that you can kind of use with the big amount of mana you're going to get from just running all mana dorks. We got Abika, Splitter of Seconds. So she came out with OTJ and was probably the most, or almost the most, hyped commander from that set. Honestly, very, very cool, and I love her. So whenever she deals combat damage to a player, you get that many additional upkeep steps after this phase. So there's a lot of great ways to kind of build her around, like, just anything that has, during your upkeep, do this, or at the beginning of your upkeep, do this. So like Darkstar Augur here, where it's look at the top card of your hand, you lose life equal to it, so you get to draw extra cards from there. Or as foretold, cast extra stuff. Or the courts are insanely great with this, and because of the fact that these additional upkeep steps are going to take place after you deal combat, you can go steal the Monarch with her, and then boom, now you're the Monarch when all of these things start procking. Next, we've got John Arenicus. Now, I actually have a video on him, and I made this deck for my best friend for Christmas. It is essentially a Christmas deck where he hands out a whole bunch of presents to everyone. So what he does is at the beginning of your end step, you get to give a creature to a target opponent that gets +2/+2 and is goaded for the rest of the game, and it can't be sacrificed. So you get to go hand out all of your creatures to everyone. So therefore you just fill your Santa's bag with shitty stuff and then hand it out, like stuff like the Evil Eye of Uroborg here, which makes it so that non-eye creatures you control can't attack. There is like barely any eyes that anyone is ever going to play. Master of the Feast here, give everyone else a card draw, which includes you because you give it over to somebody else. Or there's other blue spells as well that you can add in here just in case, to be able to switch your creatures around to other people. We've got Ruxa Patient Professor here. So he is built around creatures that have literally no abilities. So you want to fill your deck with creatures that have no abilities. This is an amazing deck for a new player. I am honestly considering building this deck for my 5-year-old because he doesn't then need to read the abilities of the creatures. Sure, there's going to be other stuff in there that is going to be, needing to have some explanation for like the enchantments and stuff like that. But the actual creatures don't need it, especially because this part here, you may have creatures you control with no abilities assign their combat damage as though they weren't blocked, means that they don't even need to worry about blockers because your creatures can't, the blocking is not going to matter. So this is like these ones here that have no abilities. They just have big stats usually, and not too expensive. There is a lot of creatures like this that are all just going to be in the bargain bin at your local gaming store that you can just pick up really cheap. And then there's other stuff that kind of works with it. So like Ragad here, which just gives all creatures with no abilities +2/+2, or the Skull Sports Nexus, which makes it when your creatures die, you get to create a green fungus dinosaur that comes back that has no ability either. So it's going to get buffed too. We've got Mishra Eminent one. Now, obviously, Mishra is not particularly a kind of memey a commander. Like most people build him around, like, you know, sacrifice and stuff like that. But why not just go the whole Mishra's used car lot, where you've just got a whole bunch of vehicles? Just shove his deck full of vehicles, because he will be able to turn the Mishra's war form into these different vehicles, and then they are going to deal combat damage, or they're going to attack, and then boom, now you've got hamsters getting spat out of your war form, and you've got a jackdaw for some reason, and you're throwing that at something. Like, there's just a huge amount of ways that you can make cool vehicles with this. You could do, like, you know, a Thunderhawk gunship, why not? Like, and then you get to summon Astartes, like Space Marines, out of it, and then you can also add in like Brutaclad and stuff to be able to just create some extra creature tokens, and then those creature tokens can crew the actual artifacts while Mishra throwing the war form at things. Along the same kind of line, we've got the Omen Keel here, which is going to be the commander for a vehicle deck. And I believe that it is Olivia from Commander at Home who has an Omen Keel deck. And it's just vehicles upon vehicles. And there's lots of cool vehicles that you can add into this. And then you can add stuff like, you know, the Thopter stuff, where it's create Thopters. And then those Thopters can go man the vehicles while they're not, like, you know, there's just some cool ways you can potentially build that. We've got Maril the Pretender here. So this one actually is very interesting. So Maril, when it enters the battlefield, you exile an artifact or creature from your hand or graveyard with a page counter on it. They have all of the activated abilities of those cards you own with page counters on them, cage counters. Now, keep in mind that those cage counters will stay on them forever, whether, you know, Maril gets removed or what, they will still be staying on there. So you can activate any of these. So you can activate, like, you know, Earthling or something like that. You can activate Ulamog's Dreadsire, you know, and then because of the fact you've got Earthling here, you can exile and then bring back Maril, and then you get to, 1, exile another thing, and 2, it gets rid of this. You may only activate each of those abilities once. Oh, no, wait, I think that should be still around. I'm not sure if that part there would be still around, but either way, you know, you can exile another thing because of that. You got Unlog's Dreadsire here, you know, just create a 10/10. Eldrazi. Morphling lets you untap as well. So you can technically, like, you know, tap to create Ulamog's Dreadsire, untap with Morphling, and then do a different ability, because why not? We've got Pack Rat here as well. 2 and a black, discard a card, put a token on the battlefield that's a copy of Pack Rat. Now, why is this one important? Because you can use this Pack Rat to create a copy of Maril, because while it says a copy of Pack Rat down here, it's just a copy of whatever card it is. So it will have this ability, but it will create a copy of Maril with it. We've got Hirobi Death's Wail here. Whenever a creature becomes a target of a spell or ability, destroy that creature. So you can use this to your advantage with stuff like Cauldron of Souls. Choose any number of target creatures. Boom, that's a board wipe. Every single turn you can board wipe something. And then because of something like Gissa, you can then bring it all back under your control, which is really cool. We've got Harvester of Souls here, so some like additional payoffs for when things die, or Staff of Nin here, which is just tap, deal 1 damage to any target. Boom, now you've killed something. Braids Conjur Adept. This one here I actually am really wanting to build. So Braids is at the beginning of each player's upkeep. That player may put an artifact, creature, or land from their hand onto the battlefield. They don't need to pay the mana. They don't need to do anything. It's just put it onto the battlefield. So you can do some bonkers stuff like, you know, put an Omniscience out. Why not? Put a 1 with the multiverse out. So these are huge freaking enchantments that are meant to be punishing because of their mana cost being so high. You could just put it out for free and boom. We got Sphinx of the Second Sun or Paradox Haze that you can get additional upkeeps. So you can use these to make it not fair anymore. So you're getting to get to put more things out while everyone else can only choose one. You can do, you know, another one. So you're putting 3 things out. The last one here is Riversong, who's probably my favorite one on this list. She has a very cool ability. So you draw cards from the bottom of your library rather than the top. So that means when you scry something, if you don't want it, you can put it on the top. Or if you don't want it, if you do want it, you put it on the bottom and then, you know, you can draw it. Whenever an opponent scries, surveils, or searches their library, put a +1/+1 onto Riversong, then she deals damage to that player equal to her power. So a couple different ways you can do this. First of all, Nira. Whenever you cast a spell, you may put it on the bottom of its owner's library. If you do, you get to reveal cards from the top until you reveal a non-land. So you can do some really interesting stuff there where, you know, you cast a spell that's really cheap. It goes to the bottom of your library. You're going to be able to draw it next turn, but then you're like essentially cascading into a different spell. Then you shuffle your library. Then you put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So depending on what you cascade into, you could get back into that really cheap spell you cast really fast. We've got Hoverstone Pilgrim here. So this is just put a target card from a graveyard onto the bottom of your library. So you pay 2 to be able to recast a spell essentially because you can draw it again next turn. Timestream Navigator is an infinite with Riversong. Because 2 colorless, 2 blue, put it on the bottom of your library, take an extra turn. But then you get to draw it straight again. Anyway, right? Like, so as long as you've got a way to be able to give it haste, I believe. I think it needs to be able to have haste to be able to do this. Then you're going to be able to just do it constantly. It's really cool. Hired Giant. So there's a fair few different things that can do similar to this, which is whenever it comes into play, each other player may search their library for a land, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. Because people aren't going to want to not do this. You're going to get, like, you know, 3 procs here for Riversong, and then you're going to deal damage to each person as well. It's really cool. So what do you guys think? Any of these interesting to you to build? Let me know. Have a great day and goodbye.